That was fun.
Hi, Nicolette. I'm an addict. Can any of you see me? This is might not work out. I don't know if this is going to work out or not. Hi. Hi.
This is when we want to speak.
Okay. Wow. So first off, I want to say thank you to the committee for asking me to share. I want to say thank you to Anthony for letting me borrow his books. Because I was like, I should probably read this first. You know, I like to think that I have it all memorized, and I don't. And I also want to thank my higher power, honestly, for bringing me here today. I was talking to somebody before, and a question I try not to ask a lot is, how the fuck am I clean, right? Because I believe that I'm clean for a reason, I'm clean for a purpose, and that it's not always about me knowing, right? So much of my recovery has been about me not knowing, right? And like the most common thing I pray for is like for the universe to give me what I need and not what I want. And that's very uncomfortable for me because I want everything. I want it all. I want more. I want things to go my way, and that's it. And so that prayer really helps me, really grounds me. So I offer that prayer to you guys today. So I'm reading on What is the NA Program, and I have a lot to say. I always have a lot to say. And this is really big and heavy, and I have nowhere to put it, so I'm not going to hold it for very much longer. But there's a couple things on my mind. So I went to my first Narcotics Anonymous meeting when I was 14 years old, and I got clean when I was 15 years old. So thank you. So when I came to NA, my father was a police officer, and when I heard the reading, we are not connected with any political, religious, or law enforcement groups and are under no surveillance at any time, I didn't fucking believe that. And the reason, one of the primary reasons I didn't believe that is because the literature made too much sense to me. So this is what I thought about NA when I went to my first meeting, okay? So I go, and my dad drops me off in his unmarked cop car. And I walk in, and the reading is, who is an addict? And for those of you who like kind of know the reading in your head, it's applicable to you if you're an addict. So I thought, I'm sitting in this meeting, loaded, right? I made my best friend come with me, who I thought for sure needed to be there. I was like, I need to go so that I can avoid getting sent to rehab, but you need to go because you need fucking help. And I'm sitting in this meeting and I'm loaded and I'm like, oh my God, thank God all these people are here. You guys are sick. You guys, I thank God you're here. And I heard the reading, who is an addict, and my immediate thought was, my dad set this up. He's been stalking me. The SWAT team has been following me. They're reading my journals. They're in my phone. And he set this bitch up for me to have an intervention so that I would go to rehab. I did not believe any of the people in the meeting were real. I thought they were cops. I thought this was like an episode of Punk'd and Ashton Kutcher was going to fall from the ceiling and be like, gotcha, bitch. And I was scared. I was so scared. Because if, in fact, this meeting was real and you guys weren't narcs and no one was in my phone and no one was reading my journals, then how the hell do you know how I feel? How? Because I got loaded because I didn't think anyone understood me, right? And like, thank you so much, Losa, for sharing before me. I love you so fucking much. And so, and what she said is true, right? Like, I hated myself. I hated myself. I hated my family. I hated my body. I hated how I looked. I hated my school. I hated all of you. I hated the fact that I didn't get to choose to be here. Like, I wanted to go back in time and have someone give me the choice. Like, hey, if you're born, these people are going to be your parents. They're cops, by the way. And you're going to be 4'11" from 7 years old on for the rest of your life. And then you're going to hit 60 and you're going to shrink more. And you're going to use drugs a lot, really unmanageably. And then your parents are going to hire people to come into your room in the middle of the night and kidnap you and take you to another state for 2 years. And then you're going to come out and you're going to be clean. I might have been like, yes, but can we wait until later, right? Like, maybe everything else doesn't have to happen until, like, I get my shit together, because that sounds terrible, right? So anyways, there's no narcs in here. But, like, really, like, that is how trippy this program is, right? The program in Narcotics Anonymous is so fucking weird that it works without your consent. Like, I was in that meeting, and I was going to meetings probably, like, after that meeting, I met this girl, and she had just gotten clean, and she moved to California from New Orleans, and her drug of choice was heroin, and I loved her. And she had 30 days, and I had 0 days, and I was still getting loaded, and I invited her to my house, and we got loaded together, and this person is homeless in the streets of the Tenderloin, and I have 11 years clean and change. So, like, I really, thank you. So I really, like, hold that to my heart, because NA is something that has saved my life, right? And, like, I have that survivor's guilt, obviously. But so, anyway. Regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, and lack of religion. Now I can put it down, because that's what I want to share about. So I grew up, my dad spoke fluent Spanish. We lived in a relatively white neighborhood, and I went to a school in which I was the minority, right? The color of my skin was a minority, but I spoke fluent Spanish, and my dad spoke Spanish, and all my friends were Latino, and I felt so uncomfortable because I got made fun of, and I got picked on, and people didn't understand me, and I didn't understand me, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get loaded, because if you didn't understand me and I didn't understand me, then there was no reason for me to live, and then there was no reason for me to take care of myself. And so, coming to Narcotics Anonymous, confused about everything. Confused about why I am alive, confused about why I look like this, confused about why people don't want to be my friend, why the dope dealer doesn't want to give me drugs anymore, why any of this is happening. Like, I was so confused that I was the youngest person in the room. And it was hard for me getting clean young. And if anyone in this room has gotten clean as a teenager or young, whatever that looks like to you, I mean, I'm still young technically, right? I'm only 27. Like, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is still for you. So I went to rehab when I was 15 and for 2 years, and I got out, and I went to this meeting that I had a commitment at when I was getting loaded still and going to meetings, right? Like, something happened for me at my first meeting of Narcotics Anonymous, and I wanted to go, and it didn't matter if I was high or not, because I was always high. So I just went to the meetings, and I got high before, and I got high during, and I got high after. And so when I got out of treatment, the first place I went was to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting in the Peninsula area where I'm from, or got clean in. And I had a commitment there when I was getting loaded to, like, put away chairs and shit. And I felt hella good about that. And I never did it. And at all. Because, like, I wasn't the secretary, you know? And, like, I'm a Leo, and I wanted to be the center of attention, and I, like, put your fucking chair away. Like, your ass has been sitting on that, and you've been farting on it, and I have to put it away. Okay. Anyways, I go to this meeting, and there's people there that don't recognize me anymore because I don't weigh, like, 75 pounds, and I cut all my hair off, and I look healthy. And these people realized who I was, welcomed me, and it was amazing. And I got asked to speak at a meeting when I was, the first time ever, I was 17 years old. I had no recovery, meaning that, like, I had 2 years clean and some change, and I had worked a first and second step loaded, and that was it, right? Like, I had gotten a sponsor, and we were starting to work the steps, but, like, I didn't know anything about recovery. So I was like, is this recommended? Whatever. So I go and I share as best as I can, right? Whatever I have to say, someone told me, is good enough. I could come up here and be like, I'm a grateful recovering addict, and walk off the stage, right? So I share. And this woman comes up to me right before I share. And at the time, there's one other Nicolette in the Peninsula area. And I've never met another one of me. You know what I mean? And this woman comes up to me and she goes, oh, you're Nicolette? And this woman, by the way, had 23 years clean. You're Nicolette? And I was like, yeah, that's me. Oh my God. Yes, I'm Nicolette. Hi. And she's like, oh, I thought I was going to hear 20 minutes of my story, and I'm only going to hear maybe 20 seconds. And I was like, what did you just say? I still have a resentment a little bit about that. And, like, I didn't understand what she meant, and I had to ask somebody, like, what the hell does that mean, right? Like, what is she saying? She thought she was going to hear her share, and now she's not going to hear shit. And they're like, well, because you're young. And people think young people don't have anything to say. And, like, if I was in the wrong place in my recovery at that time, like, I don't know what I would have done, right? And if anything, right, I think there's things that happen, at least for me in my recovery, where I go, oh my fucking God, I'm going to use that as fuel, right? Hopefully someday I can share, and it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your sexual identity, your creed. You can get the message of Narcotics Anonymous from my mouth, right? And I continued to hear things when I still hear them. But I continued to hear things, especially when I was younger. My favorite one, and you've all heard this, I've spilled more dope than you have used. Why are you spilling your dope and not getting on the ground like this? Call me next time, I'll help you find it. Because carpet farming is my favorite activity. I couldn't believe that. What? Like this. Guys, this is how you do it. I don't care if it's rice. Fucking do something about it, you know? So anyway, that bothers me. Please don't say that to people. It's not nice. It's hurtful, right? Because guess what? It doesn't matter how much I use or how much you use or who your connections were or what you've done in the past, how much or how little you have. It doesn't matter. So then I start thinking, I don't want what you have then, right? Because what I have is sacred to me. What you have is sacred to you. And as a collective, it's sacred to all of us. And something that's really important to me in my life is like practicing acceptance of myself and practicing acceptance of others, you know? And so, here's another one and again, I don't speak for Narcotics Anonymous when I say any of this. This is my experience. You're so lucky you got it when you did. So are you. So the fuck are you? What? Thank you. Could you imagine if I went to a 6-year-old man and was like, you're so lucky you got it when you did? You fucking lucky guy. Damn it. I wish I got it then. That's so rude. And I understand a lot of the times that people's intention is to say, man, I wish I didn't have to go through everything I did and waste all this time and go through all this pain and all this heartache and lose all these things. And I could have just gotten it when I was a teenager. And I hear that from the bottom of my heart. And I was told when I got here that other people did it so that I don't have to. And so you're looking at somebody, right, that does not have to go through the things that some of you went through that I hopefully will never experience. The other thing I know is, like, I earned my seat in Narcotics Anonymous. You are an addict when you say you are. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using, right? And there's a lot of judgment, like, on people, and we want to, I know that when I got clean, I wanted to know what everyone did because I wanted to make sure that you guys did the same drugs as I did. And it doesn't matter anymore, right? And, like, I didn't, anyway, long story. The reason that statement bothers me and hurts me, because luck insinuates that I don't have to do shit to be clean. It insinuates that I just ride this wave of luck on a fucking rainbow. On the other side, there's a pot of fucking gold, and I just chill there all the time while you guys do all the fucking work because you're older than me. Like, I have to do everything every other person in this room has to do to stay clean on a daily fucking basis. I work my ass off to be here. I care about myself. I care about my program, right? And so there's a lot here. There's a lot here. I'm very passionate about being young and being in recovery. I'm very passionate about being in recovery. I'm passionate. I don't give a fuck how old you are. You're in recovery? Like, welcome. Like, give yourself a fucking round of applause, So I say that just to say this, that, like, the disease of addiction does not discriminate. So we say all these things, and all these things are in our literature, but it's not in our literature that you're so lucky if you get clean when you're really young. Or, if you're really young, it must be so easy for you because you just don't have to have consequences or whatever. Or I spill more dope than you use. Or don't let the door hit you on your way out. Or you have so many fucking relapses left in you. Like, the literature doesn't say that. So stop saying that. Anyway, sorry. There's a lot of things that I hear around here that the literature doesn't say. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want a bunch of people mad at me. Anyway. So, I'm a therapist. Just kidding. So, like, when I got out of rehab, I was like, I'm going to be a drug counselor. Just like all of you said that. And I was like, I'm going to be so good at this. This is my calling. Right. And it's not like... I had a teacher. So I went to school, and I did all that. And I had a teacher tell me, some of you are going to make better sponsors than you are drug counselors. And I was like, how dare you? I'm good at everything I do. And he was right. I think I owe him an amends because I actually think I got really upset in that day, like at him. What are you talking about? Whatever. I was like 19, okay, fine. And like so I pursued a career to be a marriage and family therapist. So that's what I do. And my relationship with Narcotics Anonymous is what got me to this point in my life, right? Like having that commitment where I had to put away chairs that I never did still taught me about commitment. And I remember I was going through some relationship problems like I always am, and whatever. Growing up in NA is fun, they said. Fucking you guys teaching me how to be a woman, so I hope it works out. So I was having a relationship problem again, and I told my sponsor, I was like, I'm just scared of commitment. And she's like, you have a fucking master's degree. You're not scared of that. And I was like, but if I want to be today, I want to be scared today. But she was right. Like, and I had to come to realize that like I tell myself stories and I stick with that story. For example, for the first 9 years I was clean, all I did was stand up here and talk shit about myself. Because I wanted to talk shit about myself, so if you ever saw me do any fuck shit outside of here, you would be like, oh, well, at least she knows that she has those character defects. So I would share at a meeting, and I would just say, I do this, and I do this, and here's all my character defects, and I basically read my 6-step in front of meetings all the time because I was so scared that people would think I was a fraud. So I might as well just tell you every shitty thing I've ever done so you never think that about me. So at least you know that I'm humble. And then I learned that humility is about understanding everything that you're good at, every positive quality you have, all your assets, and all your defects and shortcomings at once, married together, and that you're still a good person regardless. So, needless to say, the literature was hard for me when I got clean because it says man or woman, and I was a child. And it doesn't say that. It doesn't say it's a man, woman, or a fucking kid. Whose life is controlled by drugs. And my life is controlled by a lot more things than drugs. My life has always been controlled by more things than just drugs, right? My life is controlled by, today my life's controlled by a lot of positive things, right? And so I don't want to use the word control, but I guess whatever. So I allow my higher power to work in my life every day. And I had a really hard time with that when I came in because even though it said, right, regardless of religion, that just when I heard the word God or that you guys pray, I was like, you're lying. And when I came to believe in a power greater than myself that could restore me to sanity in a way that made sense to me, I fell in deep, deep love with Narcotics Anonymous because that made the most sense to me, that I could curate a power greater than myself over time, and it changes all the time. I mean, even just a couple months ago, it was different than how it is now. And meditation didn't make any sense to me. I am all over the place. I'm like a lemur. Where, whoa, I'm everywhere. And so meditation was didn't make sense because I was like, I can't sit still, I can't do all of these things, I can't blah, 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 and recognizing that a lot of that came from this deep inability to be alone. And meditation requires you to be alone in here. And so there was a suggestion that they gave, or that they, who is that? That y'all said, stay out of a relationship in your first year. And I was like, no. I'd been clean for 2 years when I came to NA. I did it. And so it wasn't until I had 9 years clean that I came to believe that I needed to practice the principle of abstinence in any problem in my life. And I wasn't willing to practice abstinence in this one area of my life until I was ready to practice abstinence in this one area of my life. Unfortunately for me, domestic violence brought me to that place. Whatever. Here I am. And so I practiced abstinence and I stayed out of a relationship for approximately a year. It's like 11 months. Like, come on. You know what I mean? But what I want to say about that, right, is that the point of what I learned, the point of staying out of a relationship for a year is not to just be abstinent. I've known many people who don't get into a relationship in their first year, and they don't do shit. No step work, no self-discovery, no internal work, right? No leaning into those deep, dark, painful aspects of ourselves, right? And so I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm taking this time with 9 years clean to learn something about myself so that I can be the best, truest, and highest good version of myself. And so that's what I did. I did an entire round of steps around codependency, and I was floored that I was codependent. I'm like, I don't want to take care of people. I'm a therapist. What? Okay. And like, that's how the disease has manifested itself in my life, right? So the program of Narcotics Anonymous, what is the NA program, blah, blah, blah. I want to talk about so many other things besides that, but let's like refocus. I am so grateful to be a part of Narcotics Anonymous because it's free. Just kidding. That's one reason. There's people dying. People are dying right now because people don't have access to services. And NA is a free service. And that is incredible. There's nothing better than that. I'm grateful to be part of Narcotics Anonymous because I have a life literally beyond my wildest dreams. It is chaotic, it's messy, it's crazy, I have a lot going on. And I wouldn't have all of that if it weren't for Narcotics Anonymous, right? I work with adolescents at a treatment facility. And every day I get to introduce 14, 15, 16-year-olds to the program Narcotics Anonymous. What the fuck? So NA has successfully permeated every aspect of my life in a way that I am not willing to give up at all for anything. So, thank you.
What?